What's up, everybody? Sir Spookfest here. How you doing? So, I figured we'd read some more stories. We got South Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia today. But last night I went out in my backyard and I was just hanging out while cooking dinner and watching the stars. And I could see a star, and then these two objects went past, thinking they were meteors. At first, it was just one, and I thought maybe a shooting star or something. But it had like what looked like a contrail from an airplane. It was about like that long, and the whole thing moved, and it looked weird. And I could tell it was like out in outer space. And then another one went by, and I couldn't get my phone out fast enough to record it. But definitely interesting sighting. Probably just meteors or meteor shower, asteroids maybe in outer space, and I could just see them. But there is also a new post I put up. That was 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I was in Bridgewater Triangle up in Massachusetts. If you don't know what Bridgewater Triangle is, check that out. Um, just doing a S box session, a spirit box, and I hadn't really got anything on spirit box before. That was, you know, anything important or actually relevant. But I was asking, could you say my name? Could you tell me your name? And after a few moments, it says, "Hi, Ryan." And it didn't really say anything after that, but definitely an interesting one. One of the ones that I take seriously. Like, that's something very weird. I don't think I'm that lucky that the radio station came in and said, "Hey, Ryan." It's very weird, so check that out. It's in my posts. Um, yeah, I have a lot of things that I've captured over the years that I just cannot explain. Let's get into some of these stories. And I will be doing some more of these. I think I'm going to be going out for another sky watch since we're getting all these comets and meteors and stuff coming around and shooting through the sky. I'm hoping I can catch something. And hopefully, maybe something more than a meteor. But the first one, this one actually has four stories. So, this first top one was Skin Tom, Lover Lane, Walland, in Walland, Tennessee. So I wasn't even, that's just an extra one, but we'll do the other three after. Skin Tom was a gruesome urban legend told over campfires in Tennessee. It is allegedly originated from a small rural town of Wayland or Walland. Tom was an attractive man with an eye for the ladies. He began dating a married woman. When her husband discovered the affair, he vowed to take his revenge on them both. He followed them to the next date they went on, and as they were cavorting in Tom's car in Lover's Lane, the door was flung open, uh, revealing the woman's furious husband armed with a hunting knife. Dragging Tom outside, he showed no mercy and skinned him alive. Tom was said to be found at Lover's Lane waiting to teach other amorous couples a lesson. I've never heard that one, but Skin Tom, that's a creepy Lover's Lane story. Don't get skinned alive out there. Alright, and then South Carolina, the tomb of Julia Lagar. South Carolina, Adesto Island. South Carolina, the horrifying story of Julia Lagar's death provided nightmare fuel for centuries. Churchgoers at the age of 22, Lagar became seriously ill with the diphtheria and slipped into a coma. She was declared dead, and the community mourned her a life cut short. Laid to rest by the family mausoleum, she said goodbye to the Lagar one last time and sealed the door shut. 2 years later, another death hit the family as the tomb reopened. Instead of orderly coffins, they found large bodies crumpled up in a corner. She had been buried alive. Today, mausoleums are fully open, as every time the door was closed, it was soon found wide open with scratch marks on the inside. That's a freaky one. So there's the mausoleum. That's a creepy one. Buried alive. And so young. That's Really freaky. All right, this is a funny one from Virginia, where I am, and I've heard this legend before. Excuse me. The Bunny Man. Location Fairfax Station Bridge, uh, Colster Road, Fairfax County in Virginia. Beneath the simple white bridge in Fairfax County lurks a sinister urban legend with a violent streak. The legend of the Bunny Man began in the 20th century with an asylum whose patients were being transported to a new facility. The bus that contained these patients swerved and crashed. With the passengers scattering into the woods, eventually all patients were found except for one man. During the search, authorities found several half-eaten rabbits hanging from Fairfax Station Bridge. At Halloween, a group of teenagers had gathered under the bridge, but had their night cut short as they were attacked at midnight. The next day, they were found strung from the bridge, gutted like rabbits. And the Bunny Man runs around this bridge with an axe, and I don't know if it's just a crazy guy in a bunny costume, or if it's supposed to be like an actual like cryptid Bunny Man thing. The legend of the Bunny Man sees many locals fearful to pass under the Colchester Bridge overpass in case the Bunny Man still lurks beneath. Very fun one. And then West Virginia. Now, I've been to Mothman Museum. You can check that out. I have that on some playlists. Very interesting place. This one's on Flatwoods Monster. So if you've never heard of the Flatwoods Monster, this is one that kind of goes along with Mothman and Injured Cold and those stories, but even earlier. The Flatwoods Monster in a small town, Braxton County, the hills of West Virginia, at 7:15 p.m. on September 12, 1952, events occurred that has meant Flatwoods has been associated with terrifying apparitions ever since. 3 teenage boys were playing in their schoolyard when they saw something red and fiery fly across the sky. Appearing to crash at a local farm, one of the boys fetched his mother. Miss May and the group made their way over to the farm, approaching the crash site through the woods. The group saw something that would haunt them all forever. They saw a creature described by 17-year-old Jean Lemon as a monster with a blood-red body and a green face that seemed to glow. 2 vast beams of light appeared to project outward from its eyes. It scoured the dense mist. As the light from Lemon's torch hit the creature, they were able to see it more clearly. The monster was described as having a green body, and Miss May said it draped like folds. Some of the boys present dispute this, instead describing the creature as a dark color. The face was round and red. The hood-like shape around its monstrous head. The monster was only seen briefly before it let out a terrifying hiss and glided menacingly towards the group. In sheer terror, the boys and Mrs. May fled through the trees. A number of explanations have been given over the years for what the group of people had seen. A meteor did pass over the village and was seen by numerous people, explaining the bright lights in the sky. UFOologist Major Donald Kehoe claimed that the U.S. Air Force had sent 2 investigators who determined that the meteor had merely appeared to be landing when it disappeared over the hill. But what about the monster? According to Kehoe, the investigators concluded that the creature was probably a large owl perched on a limb. Various other accounts in the works, skeptic Joe Nickell would seem to corroborate this legend of the Flatwoods Monster. But the Flatwoods Monster lives on today. The little town remains a popular UFO tourist destination. And then there's a little picture of the Flatwoods Monster. He's cool. And when I went to the museum, I actually burned him into the board back there. But they actually have Project Blue Book has some reports of that, and definitely an interesting case. I do love Mothman, and I love all those old legends. Flatwoods monsters are definitely an interesting one because I don't think they would have mistaken an owl for a floating green, glowing red-eyed monster coming through the woods. But I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll be back probably doing some more UFO sky watching. Um, I'll probably do another live, just chit chatting. I was thinking about doing one on giants. So yeah, let me know what you guys want next. Maybe just hang out, chill, chat, talk weird cryptids and different alien UFO stories and stuff, paranormal stuff. Yeah, I'll be back soon. Peace out.